When we built these wheels for the Borax wagons back in 2016, we were getting ready for the Rose Parade of January 2nd, 2017, so we had this deadline in mind. Well, the hubs on these wheels had a higher moisture content than was ideal for the 2 to 3% humidity level in Death Valley. So we knew that we had about a 5-year window that we would be readjusting these wheels, and that's what we're headed in today, into a unique situation of a wheel that is called Felloe bound, and this is how we deal with it. Well, if you remember last week's video when I was cutting the tires off of these wheels, when I got that final cut, you notice that the iron kind of snapped apart. That is because there was still some tension on the rims or the felloes of these wheels. Well, in the process of being in Death Valley, these hubs have continued to shrink, which has pulled the spokes away from the felloes. So this has created a wheel that is called rim bound or felloe bound, where there's still tension on the felloes, but yet the hub has shrunk away, and so now there are gaps and spaces between the ends of the spokes into the felloes and into the hub. So what occurs when this hub shrinks away from the rim and there's still tension of the tire on the felloes, what happens when this wagon is being driven, that the hub and the spokes tend to free float inside the circumference of this wheel. So there's a lot of movement of the tenons as they go into the hub, and there's a lot of slippage in the spoke tenons into the felloes. And this creates damage both into the hub and into the felloe joint. Well, on a felloe bound wheel, there is still contact between the joints on the rim or the felloe, but the contact has been disrupted between the spokes into the hub, in this case because of the shrinkage of the hub. So what we need to do is decrease the diameter, and in order to do that we need to decrease the circumference of the rim or the felloes. So I'm going to take these wheels and adjust all these felloe joints and decrease the circumference of the rim or the felloes on these wheels till they come down and make contact. So when we reset these tires, that pressure will be transferred through the spokes down into the hub as they should be. Well, as loose as these spokes were into the hub and how easily they came out, I did remove one felloe section so that I could see just the condition of these tenons as they go into the hub. But because they are a double tapered tenon into the hub, they are easily snugged back up again. So I'm going to tap each of these spokes in to make them secure into the hub, and from there we can adjust the felloe sections down to the correct circumference. Well, over the years, a number of you have asked why I don't glue my joints. This exercise in resizing these Fellows is exactly why I don't glue joints. If these were all glued, this repair would be next to impossible. Now every saw cut that I take with this Sawzall using this carbide blade, I'm taking out 70 thousandths of the circumference. So you start adding up the number of cuts times 70 thousandths and you'll realize just how much I'm taking out in circumference on these Felloes. So this process of decreasing their circumference so that we have contact with the spokes is exactly the same process that you use when you're putting new Felloes on any buggy wheel or wagon wheel. It's bringing the Felloes down to make contact onto the spokes, so that when that tire is set, that tension is transferred down into the hub, and that's what really gives strength to the wheel. Now we took out about 13/16 of an inch in circumference. And you're going to automatically think, well, doesn't that affect the diameter? Well, of course it does. So I did a quick calculation that 245 inches for an 80-inch wheel is about where we started. So if we calculate at 244 1/4 to allow for that 3/4 of an inch, we have lost 1/4 of an inch in diameter. So these wheels are still really close to the original 80-inch diameter of the original wagons. And those old original wagons were reset a number of times also. So the same factor has been factored into those. It's just part of the life and history of these Borax wagons. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching.